Please don't ask me to do that. Don't. Not her.
Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new, welcome. My name is Mike, and today we are watching Dracula 1931. I do not know anything about Dracula, really. I do know some historical stuff and who it's kind of based off of, which I believe, you guys can correct me, but I believe it's based off of Vlad the Impaler and stuff, and where we kind of get the legend from. But other than that, I really don't know that much about Dracula. I know kind of in pop culture what their powers are versus what they aren't, and then you have some movies that kind of play with their powers and what they can and can't do and stuff like that. Um, I always thought that Dracula, the vampires to me are more interesting than zombies could ever be. And I know that's kind of a controversial statement because I believe that zombies had their rise in the 90s, and before that, I think it was vampires in the 80s. Um, but for some reason, everybody can't just get enough of zombies and zombie games and all that stuff. But I just I find vampires to be more fascinating to me, at least. And I wish we had more vampire content, to say the very least. I know that there's a show called Van Helsing. I watched part of that years ago. Not when it was airing, but years ago after it had finished its run. I got through like 2 seasons of Van Helsing before I stopped watching it. I just got involved in other things, other shows at the time. Um, and so I kind of quit watching it. Um, but anyway, that is to say that I'm excited to watch the watch Dracula. From what I gather, at least from the, the little bit of text that they have when you first pop it up or pop it open, depending on how you want to say it, it says that that this film was nominated for a couple of awards, and also that that it's the original. And by that I mean I think they just based it off of um, excuse me, they based it off of a book. Um, so which would be accurate, but I'm real excited to get into this. Real excited to see uh, kind of the origins of Dracula, if that makes sense. Um, and we will get into more Dracula stuff, at least if not on the channel, then just on my own time, because I just find vampires to be very, very cool and better than zombies. I know that's kind of a, like I said, a controversial take, but not really. It's kind of like, haha, type of thing. But anyway, let's just get into Dracula 1931. Bum, 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 bum. Dun, dun. Universal. I love that track. Dracula. I love the cast list and the way they do it back in the old days, where you have the name of the character and then you have the people playing the character on the other side. I just like that. I kind of wish we would go back to that just a little bit. Just kind of a nostalgic feeling, I think, for me.
I say, driver, a bit slower.
No, no. You must reach the inn before sundown. It is Walpurgis night. The night of evil, Nosferatu.
I say, Porter, don't take my luggage down. I'm going on to Borgo Pass tonight.
Well, we might have to anyway, depending on the way they packed it.
He wants me to ask if you can wait and go on after sunrise.
Well, I'm sorry, but there's a carriage meeting me at Borgo Pass at midnight.
Whose carriage?
Count Dracula's.
Count Dracula's?
Yeah, they know about the superstition.
We people of the mountains believe at the castle there are vampires. Dracula and his wives. They take the form of wolves and bats.
I didn't know about the wolves things. I knew about turning into bats, but the wolves things is kind of new. At least to me.
We must go indoors.
But wait,
Like, like indoors is gonna protect you.
If you must go, Verdi, for your mother's sake, it will protect you.
Look at those fingernails.
Let
Just throws them out. Throws his luggage out of the carriage. Nope, not even stopping. Although he did stop.
the coach from Count Dracula?
His eyes. I was gonna say his face, but his eyes.
Hi, driver.
Just a bat. Did he say why he was actually wanting to go to Count Dracula's castle in the first place? Because that would have been something that I missed. Sure, it's big enough. Just look at the location. I do like that big cobweb up there, though.
I am Dracula.
And with all this, I thought I was in the wrong place.
I bid you welcome.
I like the way he speaks. Other people have imitated the way that Dracula speaks, and it's kind of cool to see that that came from this movie. Is just that cadence of the way Dracula speaks, or how we imagine that he would speak.
Children of the night.
I can't tell if he's fascinated or weirded out.
The spider spinning his web for the unwary fly, Mr. Renfield.
How does he know who he is?
I'm a bit worried about my luggage. You see, all your papers were in.
I took the liberty of having your luggage brought up. I trust you have kept your coming here a secret.
I followed your instructions implicitly.
Excellent.
Everything is in order, awaiting your signature.
Like the eyes.
I'm taking with me only 3 boxes. I have chartered a ship. Take us to England. We will be leaving tomorrow evening.
I just noticed that Renfield has that 30s hair. Kind of parted
Everything will be
up
ready.
the middle, or, that split. Parted on both sides.
Ouch! Oh, it's nothing serious, just a small cut from that paperclip.
That's not why he was covering his face. Due to the cross.
And now I'll leave you. Good night, Mr. Renfield.
that his daughter's or
The sun is gone.
You will see that I get lives. Not human lives, but small ones. With blood in them.
so some time has passed and Zero was Dracula.
Captain dead, tied to the wheel. Come from that hatchway.
That is terrifying. So I take it that mean that he's sucking blood just like he did with Mr. Renfield. But I wonder how if they get like new vampires have to feed often. But I don't know if it ever gets established that it's in this one or not. Maybe that comes later down the line. I don't know.
And after you deliver the message, you will remember nothing, I now say.
So some hypnotists or hypnotize people.
You're wanted on the telephone.
Might I inquire if you are the Dr. Seward whose sanitarium is at Whitby?
Why, yes.
I have just leased Carfax Abbey. I understand it adjoins your grounds.
Why, yes, it does.
I should imagine it would need quite extensive repairs. I shall do very little repairing. It reminds me of the broken battlements of my own castle in Pennsylvania. To die, to be really dead, that must be glorious. There are far worse things waiting man than death.
That is kind of true. If you really think about it.
I think he's fascinating.
Well, I suppose he's all right. But give me someone a little more normal. I'll leave you to your count and his ruined abbey.
Yeah, so that's kind of in place, even though it's flapping its wings. He's gonna wake up and scream it in his shape. Wonder if we're gonna get the two prong bite, basically. The fangs.
A natural loss of life, which we've been powerless to check. On the throat of each victim, same 2 marks.
Yep.
No, Martin! Martin, don't throw my spider away from me! Oh, Martin. Flies? Poor, puny things. Who wants to eat flies?
You do, ya loony.
Not when I can get nice, fat spiders.
We are dealing with the undead.
Nosferatu.
Yes, Nosferatu.
Nosferatu. I've heard of that. Heard that word.
Your patient Renfield, whose blood I have just analyzed, is obsessed with the idea that he must devour living things in order to sustain his own life.
Modern medical science does not admit of such a creature.
That the superstition of yesterday can become the scientific reality of to be.
Wow, he's kind of wise in a sense.
But you tell me that he escapes from his room. He's gone for hours. Where does he go?
That's a good question because he left his castle and went to London, I believe. We're in London.
I am here to help you. You understand that, do you not?
Why, of course. And I'm very grateful.
He does not believe that for a second.
Send me far away.
Why are you so anxious to get away?
My cries at night. They might disturb Miss Mina.
Yes? That sounded like a wolf.
I'm not sure I like the whole kind of not seeing them get out of the coffin, even though I know that they're not actually in there. I just kind of wish we would actually see them get out of the coffin.
We know why the wolves talk, do we not, Mr. Renfield? And we know how we can make them stop.
You know too much to live, Van Helsing. If you don't send me away, you must answer for what will happen to Miss Mina.
What was that herb that excited him so? Wolfbane. It is a plant that grows in Central Europe. The natives there use it to protect themselves against vampires.
They're using all these things that I know about Dracula or in the lore of Dracula and stuff like that, but in kind of establishing stuff that's kind of associated with it. But it kind of makes me want to dive deeper into what it actually does. For example, that wolfsbane.
Master, please. Please don't ask me to do that. Don't. Not her.
He's gonna turn her into one of them. I really like that shot. It's kind of the pain and stuff like that. Pain in his eyes.
And when the dream came, it seemed the whole room was filled with mist. Two red eyes staring at me. And a white, livid face. I felt its breath on my face. And then its lips. Oh, and then in the morning, I felt so weak. It seemed as if all the life had been drained out of me.
The lips touched you? Where? Is there anything the matter with your throat? How long have you had those little marks?
Marks?
Since the morning after the dream.
What could have caused them, Professor?
Count Dracula.
Yep, exactly. Although, I didn't know he would be standing right there.
Excuse me, Count Dracula, Professor Van Helsing.
Whose name we know, even in the wild Transylvania.
I had a frightful dream a few nights ago.
I hope you haven't taken my stories too seriously.
Stories?
In my humble effort to amuse your fiancée, Mr. Harker, I was telling her some rather grim tales of my far-off country.
I can imagine.
He doesn't like that. No other man would.
My dear, I'm sure Count Dracula will excuse you. You must go to your room, as Professor Van Helsing suggests.
Oh, the mirror thing. That's also been set up in this. That's kind of surprising.
You had better do as your father advises.
So when does the garlic get set up? That'll be interesting to see if the garlic thing gets set up in this as well. Since
May
we're
I
setting
call
up
later
the
and
themes.
inquire how you are feeling?
Why, yes.
I mistrust my own judgment. Look.
Wow, I was not expecting that reaction. I thought he would run away.
For one who has not lived even a single lifetime, you are a wise man, Van Helsing.
What's that? Running across the lawn. Looks like a huge dog.
Or a wolf. Sometimes they take the form of wolves, but generally of bats. Dracula is our vampire. Vampire casts no reflection in the glass. That is why Dracula smashed the mirror. The strength of the vampire is that people will not believe in him.
People will and won't believe certain things, that's for sure. I find it more likely that people would believe in vampires, but that might just be my 2024 mind.
A vampire, Mr. Harker, is a thing that lives after its death by drinking the blood of the living. During the hours of the day, it must rest in the earth in which it was buried.
He'd have to return every night to Transylvania.
And that's impossible. Then he must have brought his native soil with him, boxes of earth large enough for him to rest in.
Ah, so we get a new one that I haven't heard before, which is they have to rest in their native soil.
Take her away from here. Take her away before.
No, Master. I wasn't going to say anything. I told him nothing.
What have you to do with Dracula?
Dracula?
I love the expression on his face.
Miss Mina! Out there dead!
Hey,
Out there!
Did she say that Mina was dead? Wow, her facial expression was good. And she fainted. How creepy is that?
Thank heaven she's alive.
Or she is already under his influence.
Well, how could she know anything about the woman as wife? It's bad enough for her to read it in the newspaper without...
Please, when was the next time you saw Miss Lucy after she was buried?
She came out of the shadows and stood looking at me. I started to speak to her, and then I remembered she was dead.
Then you know the woman in white is...
Lucy, if you can save Lucy's soul after death, promise me you'll save mine.
Both this room and your bedroom have been prepared with wolfbane. You will be safe if Dracula returns.
She'll be safe, all right, because she's going with me.
Oh, John. Father, talk to him. Please don't let him go.
Miss Mina is to wear this wreath of wolfbane when she goes to bed, and see that she does not remove it in her sleep. And knowing that a vampire must rest by day in his native soil, I am convinced that this Dracula is no legend, but an undead creature whose life has been unnaturally prolonged.
Is Mina going with me or not?
If you take her from under our protection, you will kill her. Our only chance of saving Miss Mina's life is to find the hiding place of Dracula's living corpse and to drive a stake through its heart.
So his vampire body is different from his body that is his soul, and his soul body is rested somewhere. Or the body that contains the soul would be rested somewhere else, even though the soul's not inside of it. If I understood that correctly. So we gotta basically find his physical body in order to kill the undead body. That's kind of new and interesting.
What did he want you to do? That which has already been done.
I'll show you where we can put Mr. Renfield where he won't escape again.
Maybe you're right, but I have me doubts.
I'm wondering why they're keeping him, even though he's kind of turned into a vampire himself, I think.
Now that you have learned what you have learned, it would be well for you to return to your own country.
Protect those whom you would destroy.
My blood now flows through your veins.
We know how to save Miss Mina's soul, if not her life.
If she dies by day, but I shall see that she dies by night.
And I will have Carfax Abbey torn down stone by stone.
Come here.
What, are you gonna use the Force?
Come here.
Ta! What's to prevent him from turning the Doctor into basically a vampire? My guess is absolutely nothing, and I don't know why he allows the Doctor to remain living.
Your will is strong than Helsing.
More effective than wolfbane, Count. Indeed.
The cross.
I felt strangely dizzy. And when it cleared away, Miss Mina was up and dressed and out on the terrace, and I can't get her to go to bed. Locking me in my room. Oh, and the horrible smell of that awful weed. It's been like a nightmare.
Like a changed girl. Oh, you look wonderful.
I've never felt better in my life.
Mr. Harker, you better bring Miss Mina inside.
That's all right, Briggs. Now that I'm here, what's the matter?
Oh, nothing. Nothing at all.
Nothing at all. Just the way she said that, I'm like, it's kind of fun. Nothing at all.
Dracula boasts that he has fused his blood with that of Miss Mina. In life, she will now become the foul thing of the night that he is.
Well, only yesterday you said you were afraid of the night.
But, darling, I could never have said anything so silly.
More evidence that he's fused her blood with his.
That funny little old professor. He has a crucifix. Now, I want you to get it away from him and hide it. Oh, he'll be wanting to protect me again, or from the night, or Count Dracula, or whatever it is.
He may be right, Mina. Your eyes. They look at me so strangely.
He's got the look. She's got the look.
Mina. Mina, you're...
No, Mina, no! I was trying to save her.
Save her. That's a fine way.
Oh, he used the cross.
Dracula? Oh, what's he done to you?
He came to me. He opened a thing in his arm, and he made me drink.
Oh, so he uses his arm and basically opens up his vein so that she can drink from it instead of the other way around. But that brings into question about the two fang bites and how that works. If they're drinking from his arm instead of actually through his teeth.
That's Renfield. What's he doing at the Abbey?
Mina! I didn't leave them here by myself. Don't kill me! Let me live, please! Punish me, torture me, but let me live! I can't die with all those lives on my conscience!
Kind of a weird fall, but okay.
Mina! Mina! Oh, you're killing her! Mina! Mina!
Mina!
I have found them!
But is that the actual body of the human body of Dracula, or is that the vampire body of Dracula?
Get me a piece of stone, anything, to help me drive the stake through their heart. He is not here.
Then she may be alive! Mina! Mina! Mina!
Is there some kind of connection between
Mina!
his victims and him? Because she feels the same pain, or it seemed like she felt the same pain as Dracula when he drove the stake through Dracula's heart.
I heard you calling, but I couldn't say anything.
We thought he'd killed you, dear.
The daylight stopped me.
Dracula is dead forever.
Wow, that was very, very short. So I just got done watching Dracula, and usually I do the editing first and then I do the outro. But given my current circumstances and everything like that, I just figured it's kind of easier to give my thoughts right away. I honestly thought this was pretty good. There were like one or two tropes that um, since well, tropes or things that were established with Dracula. Let's just say established for Dracula that I don't see carry forward with Dracula in future iterations or future versions of the film or the films, which is the wolf thing. They can turn into a wolf or a bat, or um, the soil thing that they need, basically the soil from which the place that they originally died from. Um, which was kind of interesting. Thought it was kind of weird that Dracula brought um, his own human body with him. If I'm understanding this correctly, that he brought his own human body with him to lead Transylvania, because I don't think he was there originally. Maybe I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and watch the film. But anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting. But those are two of the things you don't really see carried forward throughout the Dracula films, or different versions of those two, which I thought was interesting. Um, you know, getting bit on the neck or the arm, I actually have seen the arm thing carried forward, even though it's less common to be carried forward in future versions of Dracula. I've actually heard of that. So I thought that was kind of interesting. This whole movie was kind of, uh, I don't want to say set up for, a sequel or anything, because it very much feels like its own standalone type of film. But it also feels like you're basically setting up the character. You're setting up, you know, you're basically establishing the character and how the character works. There was no garlic. There was the cross, which I thought was interesting because the cross has been used, but I feel like in more modern times, the garlic is number one, the cross is secondary. So I'm wondering when that flip kind of happened, because to me, the garlic is number one and the cross is second, where here, the the cross is first and is, uh, the primary, where garlic's not even mentioned. Um, so I just found that kind of fascinating, at least to me. Um, but most of the stuff that is established with Dracula is present in other movies. Just those two, and just the one about not having the garlic, because that came later apparently. I really liked the actor who played Dracula. I really like the way he spoke, because that has been carried forward with other versions of Dracula. Just the way that he spoke, and I'm not sure if it's monotone, but just in the way he speaks is kind of interesting, just with that cadence. I believe is the correct term. Um, for it. I just like the way he speaks, and it's nice to know that the original film, probably the very first film with Dracula, um, had that in mind, um, when creating it. I'm not sure exactly what Dracula's aim is in moving to this new castle or this new place. I'm not sure what his goal was in trying to accomplish. And um, usually I'll get that like on the second watch through of you know, um, kind of what his overall goal was, or kind of his what he was trying to do. Um, I find that that it was actually pretty nice in the fact that we only had a few people hunting for Dracula instead of like a town, kind of like a Frankenstein type of thing. But it makes sense, because I think a lot of less people are after Dracula in general. And surprisingly, this is only 75 minutes. It's only an hour and 15. So it's very easy watch. It's a very entertaining watch. Just due to the fact that, again, we're just establishing Dracula and his tendencies and all that stuff. The Dr. Van Helsing, that was interesting to me. I really liked the Doctor too, because he knew about being knowledgeable about Dracula, and what makes him tick in some ways. Uh kind of wish I knew how I knew that, but not everything needs to be explained, nor should it be. The other characters I really didn't pay that much attention to, or kind of flew over my head just because they were in it a short time, didn't have much to go off of. Uh, really didn't know them very well. Like I said in the intro, I wish that we would kind of go back to vampires because I'm just kind of tired of the whole zombies thing. Again, that might jokingly just jokingly, that might get me in trouble, but I don't care because I prefer vampires over zombies. Um, but let me know in the comments if you actually prefer uh vampires or zombies. I'm really interested in to know kind of where you guys lean on that. If you guys are more into the vampires or you guys are more into the zombies. For me, I'm just more into vampires than I am zombies. And I think it's just because I know less about vampires than I do zombies, where zombies I know a lot about just because they really, really have been in pop culture from like the 90s to now versus vampires. I really haven't experienced much media exposure to vampires. But anyway, guys, that's my immediate thoughts after watching Dracula 1931. Let me know if you guys want to see more Dracula. Learn a couple new things about Dracula and kind of what was established beforehand versus what has not been carried forward. Just based on this one poem alone. Yeah, you guys can tell me kind of how accurate that is. But I am really looking forward to uh, reading you guys' comments about where you stand on the whole zombies versus vampires thing. I think that's everything I wanted to cover in this video. If there's something that I didn't cover that you wanted me to talk about, let me know down in the comments below. And without any further ado, guys, I will see you guys in the next video. Do consider commenting, and subscribing, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you, guys.